What's up, y'all? Another Sabbath day Torah reading, Genesis 39. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an Egyptian officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the bodyguard, bought him from the Ishmaelites, who had taken him down there. Now if you remember, Joseph's brothers had thrown him into a pit, and were going to leave him for dead. But they decided not to kill him and pulled him out and sold him to the Ishmaelites, the descendants of Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn son, who was born to Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, before Sarah had Isaac. The Lord, Yahweh, was with Joseph, so he became a successful man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Now his master saw that, I'm going to use God's name. Now his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and how Yahweh caused all that he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his sight, and he became his personal servant, and he made him overseer over his house. And all that he owned, he put in his charge. Now, if you remember, if you saw my last couple of videos, you saw how I was talking about how Joseph is a type and shadow of Jesus. And Joseph was put in charge of all Potiphar's house, put in charge of everything. Just like God the Father put Jesus in charge of everything. After the crucifixion, Jesus was given all authority on heaven and on earth. In heaven and on earth. It came about that from the time that he made him overseer over his house and over all that he owned, Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house on account of Joseph. Thus Yahweh's blessing was upon all that he owned, in the house and in the field. Now, God blessed the Egyptian's house on account of Joseph, because Joseph followed God. And blessings come to you when you follow God, when you keep His commandments. I experienced that personally, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but right around the time I started following Torah, right around the time I started keeping Sabbath, wearing tassels, observing the feast days, some other people around me, I'm not going to say the situation, who or where, but some other people around me started benefiting, started being blessed at the same time, right around that same time, along with myself. I'm not saying that's why that's what happened, but I think it may be. So he left everything he owned in Joseph's charge. See, it keeps repeating this. Just like God gave Jesus everything. Put everything in his charge. And with him there, he did not concern himself with anything except the food which he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. It came about after these events that his master's wife looked with desire at Joseph. And she said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Behold, with me here, my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. and he has put all that he owns in my charge. Again, there is no one greater in this house than I. Just like Jesus. And he has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do this great evil and sin against God? As she spoke to Joseph day after day, he did not listen to her, to lie beside her or be with her. Now it happened one day that he went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the household were there inside. She caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." And he left his garment in her hand and fled, and went outside. When she saw that he left his garment in her hand, and had fled outside, she called to the men of the household, and said to them, "See, he has brought in a Hebrew to make sport of us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I screamed. When he heard that I raised my voice and screamed, he left his garment beside me, and fled and went outside." So she left his garment beside her until his master came home. Then she spoke to him with these words, "The Hebrew slave, whom you brought to us, came in to me to make sport of me. And as I raised my voice and screamed, he left his garment beside me and fled outside." Now when his master heard the words of his wife, which he spoke to him, saying, "This is what your slave did to me," his anger burned. So Joseph's master took him and put him into the jail, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. And he was there in the jail. But Yahweh was with Joseph, and extended kindness to him, and gave him favor in the sight of the chief jailer. The chief jailer committed to Joseph's charge all the prisoners who were in the jail. Again, it's like a representative of God. God put it in giving Jesus charge over everything, over everyone, over the prisoners, because we're prisoners to sin until we come to Jesus. So that whatever was done there, he was responsible for it. The chief jailer did not supervise anything under Joseph's charge, because the Lord was with him. And whatever he did, the Lord, Yahweh, made to prosper. That's the end of Genesis 39. God bless you guys.